And we're live.
All right.
All right.
So no intro needed, right? Everyone knows exactly what we're doing, what we're here for.
Cheers, mix, click, and code with Boozy browsing, sipping and fixing the web one cocktail at a time.
I know this is early in the day, but our
What drum roll?
choice or drink choice first, as typical, before we jump into the content.
Yeah. I
Let me
was gonna
start.
let me start with why don't you start? I'm looking for
Yep.
something.
So I did not go with a beer this time. I went with an Arnold Palmer spiked. But if you can notice, I don't think I'll be finishing this in 30 minutes. It is a large can, but it is a half and half typical iced tea lemonade. I'm sure spiked with some kind of vodka. We'll see. Nice, light, refreshing for my head cold. It'll do really well since I can barely think right now. But
Pardon. I got let me see.
Voodoo Ranger.
Voodoo Ranger, but it's a hard charged tea and peach.
Yeah. So we went with kind of a similar kind of drinks.
Yeah. You showed
Yeah.
me that before, so I got the similar thing. So I don't know. I never really had non-beer from them, so we'll see.
Yeah. I don't do this a lot. This could be very dangerous. This tastes very much just like an Arnold Palmer.
Oh, this smells good too. It's peach iced tea.
All
Yeah, this
right.
is
So we
this
got a topical
is
topic.
really good.
I know. Same with this one. It's a real Arnold Palmer, but has alcohol. So
All right.
I have to remember that as I'm sipping along.
Anyways.
We are going to, if anyone looked at the promo, talk about I can't remember the name, some guy's birthday.
I don't know if I'm pronouncing his name right. Warner Buchholz?
I think you're right.
Right.
You know,
So,
not sharing properly. Or Werner Buchholz,
Buchholz.
probably with a
Is
V
that how you
sound.
pronounce it?
You know, it's also my son's birthday.
Oh,
I
is
didn't
it?
tell you that. Yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
happy
He's
birthday.
20. I'll pitch for him because he's trying to get an internship for next summer. So if anyone's looking for a person with a triple degree, so he's mechanical engineering, aerospace engineering, and engineering management.
Overachiever.
Because, he takes after me a lot. That's a joke, by the way. I mean, he does, but triple major, doing well in college was not my thing.
Mm.
So, but I do remember this topic: bytes, bits, and how the size are different. So that is one thing I remembered from college.
Yeah. Well, but this also, I wanted to introduce, we introduced our drink. It's just lunchtime. We wanted to test out lunch and learn, but something about technology and how they affect you. Or even like different topics that we can come up with, like auditing or site specific or website specific one. But since this is our first one, we wanted to give some light topic, I guess, but not necessarily light. This is pretty big invention if you think about it. When we put the connecting the dots together, but because October 21st, which is right now, is his birthday, so I thought it would be fun to kind of have a fun trivia facts related to technology that shaped certain things throughout the technology, I don't know, era world.
I did not know that it was a deliberate misspelling. I thought it was just a word that he came up with. I didn't know that history.
I didn't know that either. I learned I didn't even know this guy, and then and the Byte started was to 1956. So before this, pretty much there were no standardized sizing in the storage in the computing land or software or machine, because the internet wasn't even there yet. So it pretty much was not standardized, meaning that if you kind of put it into real world situation, 1 inch means not the actual size that we agreed on. So it can be any different sizes. So before this was standardized, that's what was happening in this world.
Well, I feel like and maybe I'm wrong, but it's like one of the first kind of versions of America coming up with a standard of measurement that wasn't just changing the way the rest of the world was doing things. And now, because like imperial measurements, like you said, inch versus
Mhm.
millimeters, and like those are a truly standardized way of doing things. We came up with, acres and all these measurements, but digital measurement is actually something that was created here and is now used the only way of measuring.
Yeah, very possible.
And this is what it is. So I learned about bits because it's actually referencing the storage, like the data of things. And we like, it's funny because I had to learn how to do math in bits, like binary,
Yeah.
when it actually wasn't that important. Like no one like truly cared about how to use it,
Right.
but they were still teaching it because it was 20 years before that, it was the
Yeah.
only way of doing things, let's say. But I learned things about like shifting a bit is like multiplication and like weird things that are totally not needed anymore.
I did too, because like, the binaries and then like
Right.
converting the numbers into binary and then all that. So like it's pretty standard computer science class or engineering class intro topic that they did. I don't know if they still do it or not. You can probably confirm with your son to
Yeah.
see if they still do it or
I
not.
mean,
But
designers, I don't even know if designers understand that like hex codes
right.
are just a thing. It's hexadecimal. So it's
Mhm.
16 bits.
Yeah.
It just happens to go through letters because you go through numbers and then letters and you're getting to a 16. That's
Mhm.
the 256. Like, yeah.
Yeah.
FF
Yeah.
is actually a number.
And I feel like I learned it at the time, not really understanding the applications to it. But at the same time, when I see these words, bits, bytes, megabytes, whatever, gigabits, gigabytes, all that, I understand in my back of my head because I went through that course.
Right.
I probably wouldn't understand the size of it because it's just a name if I didn't go through it, even though it felt like it was useless and I didn't understand. It did help me in a way.
Yeah. Yeah.
So that's so wait, go back. Everyday example, just to kind of give you an idea.
Right.
Text "Hey" is 4 bytes, and usually selfies are 2 to 3 megabytes. Um, yeah, a million bytes. It's megabytes. Guess that's a typo.
Similar. It's the same
Yeah,
idea.
yeah. And then emojis, that smiley emoji is like 4 bytes. And
Right.
Netflix movies can be like 21 gigabytes, billion bytes. Well, yeah, so it's like a similar thing.
Yeah. I know we talked about this a little later, but a lot of people, so if you are being sold um, on high speed internet, basically, and you hear it's 1 gigabit now, or it used to be 500 megabits or 200 megabits and went down, right? It's megabits are not the same as megabytes. It's actually an eighth of. So when you look at, like, if you get down to the raw numbers, it's almost a marketing ploy of getting to a gigabit
Mhm.
speed when, this is across the board. Everyone talks about megabits as far as speed per second, but most of the time when you're talking about data, it's in bytes now. So it's like an eighth of the perceived speed, essentially. Because when you talk about a website being,
Mhm.
it's probably physical size of most web pages is, there's probably real numbers out there, but it's probably in the number of like maybe 1 megabit, megabyte, in size total. And that you'd like, oh, well, that's, if I had 1 gigabit, that should be like super fast. Well, it's gigabits. So it's,
Mhm.
whatever. The calculation, like that's why things are somewhat slow, definitely on phones when you're talking about those speeds of megabits, because you're not an eighth times of what you'd hope
Yeah.
for.
So you are getting slightly deceived, but that's probably the marketing thing that it's
Oh,
not bytes and
I'm
bits.
sure.
They are different. So
Hmm.
now you know after this lunch and learn.
Well, we talked about confusion and analogies. This is getting more technical.
So yeah, but just it's technical, but at the same time, I wanted to make an analogy to the more regular language or non-technical language. I don't know the good
I
term
like
for
the
it.
vacuum sealing clothes. I definitely lived in apartments for a long time and like
Mm.
storing your winter or off-season stuff. This was a thing for a while with vacuum sealed bags of like sucking down all the things so they could tightly fit into the
Yeah.
closet that you had no room for anything else.
Yeah. So like some of the terms that you might not be familiar with I think we threw that in a lot. And also if you work with any technical person or someone who knows technology, you might be hearing these words thrown a lot, but if you weren't familiar with it, or if you didn't understand what it really meant, but you just accepted it, this is the analogy that we can compare. Bytes can be like colors for your phone. So you need to watch what you eat, especially on your phone, why things get slow, why things load slow, that type of situations you can understand. And compression, like Matt said, it's kind of like vacuum sealing store clothes. So like usually, if it's not compressed, it's much bigger and poofier. And we'll show in the different images just to kind of showcase that.
Right.
But by compressing it, you're kind of vacuum sealing it, you're compressing it down, but it doesn't necessarily changing those clothes that you put in or whatever you put in into the vacuum sealed
Yeah.
bag. And storage is kind of like your closet. It's probably not that difficult to understand, but 8-bit stuff, Goldilocks, not too small, not too big, just right. I guess it's
Right.
because it's a byte.
Right. So why should we care? Well, I know this is a
Oh,
visual of kind of the size differences.
yes. Why should we care? So when you post a photo on Instagram, I'll probably switch to mine. So when you capture your camera, then you capture the photo with your camera, it's usually pretty huge. The images maybe about 20 megabytes. And when you are trying to post it on Instagram or wherever, Instagram compresses it down to maybe like 1 to 2 megabytes. And then they use modern formats like WebP, AVIF. Is there like a
Do we have another slide for that? Because I know you.
No, I'll show you after
Oh,
I
okay.
work this thing. That squeezes to the same quality into fewer bytes for like
Right.
the storage size. That's why Instagram and all the websites that have these images that seems huge and good quality can load fast. So that's kind of equivalent to it.
Oh, correct.
You see it?
Yep.
All right. So here's an example. So JPEG, although when you take a picture, it might not be JPEG. JPEG's also already compressed. So that's a JPEG image versus I compressed it to WebP, which is the one of the
Optimized.
file format that Instagram uses, or AVIF. Is there like a pronunciation that you use for this?
AVIF? I don't know.
AVIF, like it's a
I
newer
honestly
one.
don't know.
Yeah, so I wasn't too
Like
familiar
GIF
with
and
it.
GIF.
Right. So if you compare all these three images, and I'll show you the size differences, but
Yeah.
you
I
probably
mean,
don't really realize
I
what the
know it's a
difference.
video and who knows, but even when you were showing me like the actual files, I can't tell the difference. And there's no like loss of like quality or clarity for
Yeah,
these
so
three.
to give you the actual file size, so JPEG image, this image is 5.3 megabytes.
Big.
And this AVIF file is 808 kilobytes.
Mm-hmm.
And WebP is 548 kilobytes. So these are much smaller than this image, but you can see the quality didn't really change much. This is the whole compression that happened to make sure the file size is small so that when you load it on these platforms or even on websites, that's why when we do an audit, we sometimes recommend that you need to compress your images to the right size.
Right.
This is what we're talking about because it's a lot faster to load, much smaller. It's like almost a 1/4. No, not even 1/4. It's like a 1/10 of the size than the bigger image, but the quality is pretty much the same. So this is one of the big thing, the image heavy sites, because most of the sites these days, there's a lot of images. You want to make sure you're compressing it to the right size so that it loads faster. and it really helps your site performance.
And some of this is done on delivery, but there's a reality of storage and like how much do you really want to keep around? Like there's no reason to keep an unoptimized image for web use. I mean, if you're a video production company or something and you're trying to use them in videos or something else, right? Or print. But if your content, your media is specifically for web and like digital delivery, why not optimize your repositories of or your media asset libraries even before it gets delivered in CDNs? So why not optimize the JPEGs if you're going to store them all as JPEGs and deliver them as something else? Because it's going to be that much faster to do the compression.
Right.
But, yeah.
Yep. So that's why when developers are talking about you need to compress your image, that's why. So now you know. And I get to show my kitty on the screen. All right, so you can take over.
Well, the other thing is, I was thinking as I was looking at this, so we want to show this, but that's the other kind of weird part about bytes. So bits, bytes, kilobytes, megabytes, gigabytes. So it's not a typical byte and then 1000 is a kilobyte and 1000 kilobytes is a megabyte. It's actually 1024 and then 1024, 1024s and then 1024, 10, like it's a multiplier of a weird number if you don't know that it's based on, binary. So it's not a thousandth, like 1 gigabyte is not 1000 megabytes. It's 1024 megabytes. And then so that it actually gets important once you're getting into the terabytes. If you're trying to calculate like backwards.
Yeah.
That's an interesting fact that I find interesting as a technical person that most people could care less.
Yeah. I mean,
it's an error. It's a rounding error, basically.
Right. It's good to know. So terabyte means that it's 1024 gigabytes, not 1000 gigabytes.
Right.
So,
which again, it's not that big of a difference between the two, but when you're talking about compared to bytes, it continues to add up. It's like almost 1,200,000 and something. Like it's a significant percent-wise difference when you're talking about megabits per second of speed. When you're talking, and then when you convert to terabytes, if you're downloading big backups or something like that.
Right. Yeah. And also to give you an idea of how big is each thing, a bit is just like literally 0, 1. It's like on and off. And 1 byte is like 8 bits, which is like letter A is 1 byte. And 1 kilobyte is like a short email.
Right.
And 1 megabyte, something like photo, but you saw that one of my cat photo, if it wasn't compressed, it was about 5 megabytes. So if you take the photo from your phone, it's probably going to be bigger than megabyte. And gigabyte is about a movie. I think it depends on the length of the movie too, but these days, if you have like a DVD, it can be 7 gigabyte, whatever. And 1 terabyte is a hard drive. You have like a terabyte hard drive. And then one, I think it was a picobyte. What was the PB? That's how
picobyte, not
petabyte.
Petabyte.
Yes. Petabyte. Yeah, pico's actually smaller, right? Petabyte.
No. I mean, I can't remember them anymore. They used to go. I used to be able to go much further.
Right. And
Pico,
then
I think it's further up.
Okay.
Anyways.
So yeah, that's all of Netflix is about petabyte, which is a lot bigger. And I think there was a nibble in between. I think it's between 1 byte and 1 bit is a nibble.
What would that be?
I think nibble was 4 byte.
Oh, okay.
So I remember learning it, and I also thought it was a funny name, so I remember it.
I don't remember that at all.
Nibble? You didn't remember nibble?
No.
Yeah, so nibble 4 bits.
What I do remember is you can see my mouse. Like when I was learning like the internet and things like emails and stuff were getting sent, like we were talking about this stuff. And so optimizing in this range, when you have, this is going to get very technical very fast, but HTTP is a protocol that's communicating back and forth. So the data is a part of that, but when it's a really small amount of data, the header size, and in web headers, you've got cookies that could potentially take up more space. So when you optimize to the point where you're dealing with file sizes under a kilobyte, your header requests actually might be bigger than your data, which gets like, when you're talking about like truly optimizing down to this size. And that's why back in the day when we were doing sprites for all the little icons across the page, that was because those files were so small that the header requests and just the time delays and failures took up more time than loading a big image palette of things that might be 20 kilobytes. But if you had 20 images, it would be, or 20 little image icons on the page, it would be that much faster because the request times, the failures, headers were all added up to be more than the like sending one image.
Do they still?
Those days are gone. No one cares about those little, like everything is on the tens to hundreds of kilobyte size for image assets now, because we have so much more bandwidth basically that no
I
one
was
cares
gonna
about that
ask,
much
like,
performance.
is a sprite a standard thing now anymore? Because like it was.
I can't imagine anyone taking the time to create sprites anymore. I mean, we have so replace that kind of are like Font Awesome and different fonts that have all the little icons. You don't use the graphic icons anymore. You're using kind of a flat palette, flat design palette.
Yeah, that makes sense. Because I remember the sprites, it can get annoying, but at the same time, because if you put the position wrong, it's showing the totally wrong thing. So, but I'm curious, like if they're still using some sort of sprite in different ways to bypass any performance or gain any performance or something a little like that.
I think, again, you've switched to basically font delivery, and then you can create fonts as
anything now
palette of like icons that you want.
Right. Yeah.
Partially because design has gone to a very flat design. I mean, it's kind of I guess it's kind of coming back full circle of more color treatment of like not just flat. What's the term? It's not flat, right? It's like, I think this.
Vector?
No, I mean, like maybe it is flat. It's something like flat, as far as like very no like soft edges of anything.
Mm-hmm.
That's getting off into a squirrel tangent. My real squirrel tangent was how well I'm matching my background today, and being Halloween centric too. I mean, I took a lot of time designing this specific shirt for this live stream so that I almost blend into my background. I'm almost just a floating head. That's
have you even asked what are the font removals that they fled?
So
this is what alcoholic iced tea will do to you.
Can you see? Oh, I'm not sharing everything.
They say it's flat.
So maybe it is
flat.
I mean, it came out like maybe 10 years, 8 years ago. Well, I was thinking because Google came out with it. It's
a Google material design stuff.
Material design. That's what I was thinking.
Oh.
Yeah, I knew you would know. Just I can't describe it very well.
Well, yeah, I don't know. I'm not a huge fan of material design because it felt like it just took the entire creativity out of it, because everything is exactly the same. There used to be pretty interesting looking sites for a while, and then with the Google material design, since Google was penalizing it for not really following some of those, all the websites pretty much went flat and boilerplate.
Yeah, very generic.
Yeah. And I think
everyone adopted the same thing very quickly, which it felt like that was a clean, good look to do, but
but
you have to iterate beyond that.
They all kind of went boring, and there's whole movement of nostalgia coming back. So I think it's kind of a mixture these days, but still.
Yep.
So
well,
there's good.
We're running out of time for a 30-minute lunch and learn. Like we have to promote our weekly podcast. If you're wanting to talk about some technical but really critiquing websites, getting on Boozy browsing, are you going to pull something up?
Am I showing this yet?
I don't know. I'm still sharing. It looks like. Oh yeah, it came up. Yep.
So yeah, that's where you submit.
That'll be the anchor down to the bottom of submitting your site. We're coming on to take all of our criticism of your website. It's
Yeah.
lighthearted and fun. It's not like hypercritical. Well, depends on the site. I think we've had some sites where like, whoa,
Yeah.
okay,
But we always try to wrap up with some of the things that you can do to make a quick wins, as well as some of the bigger things that you really need to consider, including some of accessibility, some things that you probably want to make sure you have so you don't get, I don't know, penalized for it by random different audience.
yeah.
Uh,
Well,
so
this is definitely the first boozy browsing type episode that I didn't finish my drink.
I didn't either, but it's a
We'll be taking a
ginormous,
half day today in the afternoon.
it's a ginormous drink.
Yep.
I'm like 1/3 of it right now, but this is also very dangerous.
Mine would be
Very
measured in kilobytes, not bytes. For sure.
such a dorky thing to say.
That's right. All right.
Anyways, so yeah, like and subscribe our Boozy Browsing channel, and then we'll come up with the good content. And if you have any recommendations or anything that you would like to see, who has technical expertise over 30 years of building websites, probably built more than 1,000 websites between two of us. So
Right.
if you want any of our inputs on something, technology, anything related, website, platform,
Don't ask me about design.
we'll find the answer.
Right.
So, yep. So hit us and like and subscribe and find us on LinkedIn as well.
Yep. See you Monday.
Stay tuned for the next episode on Monday afternoon.